So ladies and gentlemen, that's all the advice I've got for you if you absolutely insist on diving during a hurricane. My name's James. This was your Divers Ready video for this week. Thank you so much for watching. Dive safe, dive often. Oh, it's Mano at Dive Tech in Grand Cayman. Hey buddy, how you doing? Yeah, no, I'm good. I just actually just finished recording the video, yeah. No, I don't have any plans this weekend. Why, what's going on? The Kittiwake, yeah man, you know that's on my bucket list. Let me check flights. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Divers Ready. My name's James and we're coming to you this week from the Divers Paradise of Grand Cayman. Massive day for me today, guys, because I'm actually getting a bucket list tick. It's a little bit of a ridiculous one, but I've never ever dived the wreck of the Kittiwake. I've got so many friends in Grand Cayman that I really don't have any excuse, so we're gonna put that right straight away. So in just a moment, the boat's gonna be coming into the pier behind me and we're gonna load all our gear and head out there. The actual wreck itself is just over my right shoulder down 7 Mile Beach in Grand Cayman. She's right out there. But first I wanted to give you a little bit of history about the wreck and then we'll participate in the dive briefing and get the dive done. She was commissioned in 1945 as an Auxiliary Submarine Rescue ship. So she served with the 6th Submarine Fleet of the US Navy and provided a multitude of different tasks in supporting roles for different kinds of operations. To give you some of the highlights of her service, she participated in the first ever launch of a Polaris missile that was launched from the USS George Washington. She was part of the support crew for that. She also recovered the flight data recorder from the Challenger space shuttle disaster and played an important role in understanding what went wrong, which obviously led to greater improvements in space shuttle safety. She was decommissioned in 1994 and sat idle until the founders of the dive shop that I'm actually diving with today requested that she be donated to the tourism board of the Cayman Islands to form their first artificial reef. So those are the cliff notes about the history of the Kittiwake, but if you're interested to learn more, I'll put a link in the description below to an article that gives you much more details, and I'll put a link to a video that shows the sister ship to the Kittiwake in action. From the pier here, it's a simple 5-minute ride out to the site. She's literally only 600 yards off of the shore. She's 70 feet deep to the sand and about 20 feet deep to the top of the superstructure, which makes her ideal if you're a diver with a non-diving buddy because they can come along and snorkel the wreck as well. The dive shop that I'm going out with is the one I recommend if you're going to dive the Kittiwake, and that's Dive Tech. They're in West Bay, and I'll put a link to those guys down below. The reason that she's such a great wreck to dive and quite easy for novice wreck divers is because she was so well prepared. You're going to see that there's huge panels cut out of her, which makes it very easy for light-to-light swim-throughs. And my dive buddy for this and for all my Grand Cayman adventures is the one and only Mr. Menno Verschoor, aka Finding Menno. I'll put a link to all of his social media handles in the description of this video so you can follow all of his epic adventures.
Does everybody have weight? All right, so the ex-USS Kittiwake is an old Navy submarine salvage vessel. So back in the day, all submarines were assigned a boat, like the Kittiwake, that was there to assist them if they were in any sort of distress. The Kittiwake itself is 251 feet long. Its beam, meaning the widest part of the boat, is 44 feet wide, and it sits in about 70 feet of water. It lays on its port side, so the shallower portions would be the starboard side of it right here. So the way this worked, you see these big orange markers, one on each side. There were originally 2 on each side for a total of 4. Those acted sort of like very large surface flotation devices, if you will. And the deck of the Kittiwake was covered in thousands and thousands of feet of chains and ropes. So if there was a submarine and it had a problem and it got stuck in midwater, the Kittiwake would locate it, and it would create a cradle by attaching chain from the bottom of one of these around to the other one on each set. The Kittiwake, that actually had 110 crew members on it, was full of a bunch of Navy divers. It would load 2 crew members here into its diver's bell. The diver's bell would come off the Kittiwake, it would drop down to the submarine, create a seal, and it could take an additional 9 people safely off the submarine and bring them all the way back up to the surface. The diver's bell is still down there. It has a very large hole cut out of the side of it. That was done for sinking purposes, but when you guys swim past that, you can kind of poke your head in there and imagine yourselves and 10 others comfortably squeezed in for the long ride back to the surface. Probably better than the alternative, I would imagine. They towed it down here on a big long tow rope from Virginia. It went right past Lighthouse Point on Christmas Day 2010, and they brought it around here to the west side and sunk it on January 5th, 2011. They sunk it on this side of the island because this side is diveable just about every single day of the year. It's very rare we get bad weather on this side. After they sunk it, maybe a year later, a storm took a weird track up the southwest coast of us. It didn't come near us, but it went near us enough to cause a storm surge. It picked the whole wreck up, moved it 50 feet in the direction of the main wall, set it right back down in the sand, and it just got about 10 feet deeper. So it sat in about 60 feet of water, and this level became about 15 feet. Then last October, Tropical Storm Nate again took a really weird path right up the side of us, the southwest track, caused massive storm surge over here. That dock we just loaded on was completely wiped out, and it actually picked the Kittiwake up, moved it again about another 20 feet, laid it on its port side in the direction of the deep wall. So it got a little bit deeper again. So it does sit very, very close to the edge of the reef now. There's a part actually you swim past, you can touch the wreck and the reef about this distance from each other.
So there we go, first dive on the Kittiwake, pretty epic.
Look at those colors.
So ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, click the little bell icon, and then you'll never miss any of our content. Unfortunately, that's about all the time I've got here on Grand Cayman. I hope you've enjoyed this series of videos. If you haven't checked out the other videos I made in Grand Cayman, I'll put them all together in a playlist so you can't miss any of that great content because it's really a beautiful, fun place to come and dive. I know in my heart for sure I'll be back. Until next time, my name's James. This was Divers Ready. Dive safe, dive often. I don't know, I might not go home. I might have to call up the wife and be like, hey, hun, we moved to Grand Cayman. Pack up the cats and dogs, let's go. I'm pretty sure my wife would move to Grand Cayman. In fact, I'm certain she would.